Well, good morning. I want to welcome you all to this Beam Business Service Power Session. And the title today is Consistently Getting Good Results. And I want to thank the Portsmouth, Ohio Chamber and specifically Lisa Carver. She helps us out with these things every time we get it, every month. The Maysville Chamber of Commerce, the Grayson, Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, the Adams County Chamber of Commerce, and the Aspen Alliance have all promoted this, and they send out information to their members and let them know about this resource. This has been a give back that I've been doing for several years in the communities that I serve. And this is a most interesting topic. You see the little A+ there on the screen. I think when we think about good results, we go back to our childhood and we think about our grade card. And I think we always felt good when we got better grades and maybe not so good when we got lower grades. But now that we're working and we have families and we have relationships and we work in community service and church work and such, we want to get results. We want to get things done. And coaching is all about helping people who play the game get better results. So this is a favorite topic of mine. Now, don't ever underestimate the power of small things. We're going to this is going to go a little faster today. Probably 30 to 45 minutes will be done today. And but just because it's a little bit shorter, I don't want you to minimize the power of what we're going to say. I've worked really hard on this one to get really clear. So that is me. Been married for 38 years to Connie, a wonderful wife and woman. I have 3 sons, Michael, Aaron, and Nathan. I am a self-proclaimed granddaddy of all granddaddies. I've been a business leader and a leadership coach for 20 years. I'm an ACBC certified biblical counselor, and I have a passion to help people. And that's kind of what brings this all together. So that's enough about me. Let's talk about the rules of the game. We always start off these sessions with the rules. Some people don't like rules, but if you want to consistently get good results, you have to define the playing field. And I think that's what the rules of the game do. They define the playing field. They tell you what's in bounds, what's out of bounds, how to play the game legally, and how to get the most out of it. So, first rule of the game for Beam Business Services and working with me as a coach is to own it versus being a victim. In other words, if it's to be, in a sense, it's up to me. I'm not going to make excuses anymore for not getting good results. I'm not going to blame other people for not getting good results. And I'm going to be accountable, and I'm going to look at the scorecard and really look at the results I'm getting and be honest about them. It's facing up to what's happening and then doing something about it. So if you're willing to be an owner, you check off the box. Yeah, Dave, I'm on board with rule 1. I don't always do it perfectly, but I'm in. Second rule of the game, participation. How would that apply today? I think it's listening, and I think it's listening for yourself. It's not listening, thinking about other people and their results, but it's thinking about your results. And it's engaging with this. It's not multitasking and trying to do other things. 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That's how long we're going to be together this morning. I'm asking you to fully engage. Third rule, you don't know anything. Now, you know some things, but if you come in curious, like I don't know very much, then you'll learn a whole lot. If you come in thinking you know a lot, then you will learn very little. So that's just a mindset. So if you really think about the universe and how big it is and all there is to be known, you don't know much. In fact, you can just drop the I know and be curious this morning. And finally, we will have some fun. I try to stay lighthearted and not become overly serious, because when people get overly serious, their learning tends to shut down. So those are the 4 rules. Own it this morning, participate 100%, be curious and don't have an I know, and let's have some fun. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Here goes. Now, if you have been a fan of Beam Business Services and come to several of these events, and you've ever coached with me, you're going to see something very familiar. And again, I don't want you to have the I know. I want you to take a fresh look at this. And here comes the formula. Be times do equals have. Getting good results consistently. There are 3 key components. Have. What is a good result? Have you defined what you want? Are you clear about what you want? Do. You have to do something to have a good result. It just doesn't automatically happen. You have to put effort. This is the work side. This is the do side. This is not sitting on the couch and dreaming about what you want to have, but doing something about it. And then B, who do you want to be? Who do you have to be to do what you need to do to have what you want? So those are the key components to consistently getting results: who you're being, what you're doing, and being very clear on what you want to have. So we're going to look at each of these a little bit closer. We're going to look at the have first. What you want. You know, I don't think people are clear on what they want. What is it you really want? You came to this thing this morning. You've tuned into this later. You're watching it. You're saying the title is consistently getting good results. What is the good result you want? What is the outcome you want? We've got those 2 pairs of allies looking at us, looking, vision. What is the picture, the goal? It's kind of like working a jigsaw puzzle. It's what's on the box top. What does the finished product look like? Folks, our biocomputer is made to pursue outcomes. And when you can clearly see where you are and clearly see where you want to go, that difference, that space in between, becomes what you need to do. And your mind and your brain works to make that happen. So whoever is responsible for producing a consistent result needs to clearly know what they want to have. This is the vision, being able to see something in advance. It's specific, it's detailed, it's a picture of what you want. And we're talking about good results. So it's not just being clear on the result, but what do you mean by good? How good? And what defines good? You're saying, Dave, man, this is tedious. Well, folks, if we're not clear about where we're going, we probably won't get there. And I think people are moving through life so fast, they never slow down to really think about, what do I really want to have? What do I really want? Focus is a key to getting what you want, to getting the good result. It's a key to consistency, and less is more in focus. Focus is narrowing in. Focus is getting specific. It's saying yes to what you want, which means you're going to have to say no to a lot of other things. But if you're not clear on what you want, you'll be double-minded. You'll be back and forth. Well, do I want this or do I want this? It's going into the Super Chinese buffet and you see all these wonderful dishes, or at least some of them you think are wonderful, and your plate is too small for all that food. So you have to choose. And if you don't know what you want when you go in there, you can get quite overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is just being confused on what you want. Once you're clear on your priorities, once you're clear on what's important to you and what you really want to have, that's when you have this part nailed down. The vision, the goal, the outcome. It's the leadership piece. And it's the piece that's quite neglected. If you have a team of people working with you, does the team know what they want to have? And do they have a shared vision and goal? Are they clear on what they're trying to achieve? A lot of us are worker bees. We just like to do. We just like to do all over the place. We like to get going, you know. And I'm suggesting this morning that you slow down and really ask the question, what do you want? What do I want? What do we want as a family, as a church, as a organization, as a company, as a business, as a marriage? What do we want? It's getting clear on what you really want to have. And then the why you want to have it is important too. So once you get clear on what you want to have, here's just one of those blinding flashes of the obvious. I say the most simple, direct, clear things that just are lacking everywhere. If you won't know exactly what you want to have, then you have to figure out what you need to do to get it. Isn't that obvious? It's obvious common sense, but it's not common practice. As people run around and do so many things, do other things, you have to figure out what you need to do if you're clear on what you want to have. The do is, you know, the actions you take. It's the plan you make. It's the steps. It's the process. Here comes our guy in action. You can tell I have too much time on my hand when I'm able to mess with PowerPoint. But, you know, the do is the action steps that when executed will produce the desired result. If you want to consistently get good results, you need to know what you want to have, and you need to know what to do to get it. Having a clear written plan of action, if you're working especially in a team. So, Dave, what's an action plan? It's who does what by when. You might write that one down. That's a nugget. Who does what by when. Every meeting you have in an organization, you need to leave with that information. Who does what by when. If you don't do that at the end of a meeting, it's a waste of time. Having a clear written action plan is critical if you want a team to produce consistent results. If you want to consistently get good results, you need a plan, but you can only make that plan when you know what you want to have. Roles, responsibilities, and deadlines need to be defined so that you can be sure you have the resources and the competency to get that done. You need to know what you need to do so you'll know what you need to get it done. And folks, again, this is coach talk, and this is slowing it down. And if you're not consistently getting good results, perhaps you know what you want to have, but you haven't worked out what you need to do to get it. You need to sit down and do some thinking, some brainstorming, and some clarification and some organization. Some of us are big picture thinkers. I tend to be that way. And the devil is in the details, as they say, the specific plan steps that you need to take, and who is going to take each of those steps and be responsible for them. And then finally, who we need to be. Who are you? What is your identity? What are your values? What is your culture? That can be personal, that can be team. Who are you going to be? Who must you be to produce what you want to have, to do what you need to do? The B is communicated through your core values. Probably the number one thing I've done in the last 2 or 3 years with organizations is help them with their core values. It is transformational. These are the non-negotiable priorities that are embraced by every member of the team. And these core values are the principles that define your identity. And it is a leadership responsibility to exemplify these values and communicate them to the team. I went to a oral surgeon once office, a dentist. Sure, it's a favorite thing that we all do. And I walked into the office and the receptionist came around and gave me the paperwork and smiled. This was early on a Monday morning. She offered me coffee. She welcomed me to the office. She's a very pleasant lady, very happy. And I found that a little refreshing, a little odd, a little refreshing. But she was a happy person. She took me back and introduced me to the chairside assistant, and she was a happy person. And she was friendly, and she was telling me pictures of her grandkids and getting to know me. And then I met the doctor, and he had me stand up and welcome me to the practice and shook my hand. And when he left, I asked the chairside person, I said, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something here. Everybody here is so happy and so welcoming, and it's refreshing, but it's kind of strange. She said, oh, well, that's easy to explain. We have a rule. It's called our happy rule. And I said, seriously? I'm a business coach. I would love to know what that means. And she said, well, you don't work here if you're not happy. And I said, you must have turnover. A lot of people coming and going. She said, no, I've been here 15 years. Dennis started this 18 years ago. Other person works here has been 12 years. It's a happy place. It's a great place to work. I said, well, what happens if you break the rule and you're not happy? Oh, you go home. You don't lose your job, but you don't get paid for the time you're not here, and you go home until you can be happy. And that's our rule. And I said, seriously? She said, we take our happiness very seriously. And she smiled. I said, how about the dentist? Does he have to be happy? We sent him home last week. He came in the office and he was grumpy. And we told him he had to leave. And he went out and kind of grumped out the door and came back in 15, 20 minutes, got some coffee, and he was happy. I said, how about me as the patient? Do I have to be happy? She said, absolutely. If you come here 3 visits, we'll ask you at the end if you had a happy visit. And if you don't say 3 times in a row you haven't had a happy visit, we ask you to find another dentist, because that's our rule. Now, they got their identity, they got their values, and they got their culture. It was simple, but it's what they lived by, and it's what they abided by. And there was no negotiation in it. It was absolutely applied across the board. And you know, that place got consistently good results because they had agreed upon who they were going to be. They had agreed upon their identity, what defined them, what was important to them, their values and culture, what was going to be the vibe, what was going to be the buzz of the organization. It can be done. I didn't say it was easy, but it is simple. It's narrowing it down to what you really want to have, and then doing what you need to do, and realizing to do those things, to have those things, you have to be a certain way. Be, do, have. I want you just to kind of marinate in that a little bit. I'm going a little slower today too. I want you to take that in. If you're not consistently getting a good result somewhere in your organization, or personally, you're not getting the results you want, are you clear on what you want to have? Have you written it down? Do you know how to get it? Do you know what you need to do, the actions you need to take to get those things you want to have? And most importantly, do you know who you need to be, who you want to be, how you want to see yourself, your identity, what is important to you, and what kind of culture it's going to take to get that result? That's really some very simple things that I talk about all the time, but they are transformational. Just want you to sit with that. Now, that was part one. Let's look at part two, the process. Dave, I came to this thing, I wanted some practical advice on what to do in the process and what it looks like. Well, we're going to divide the process into these three pieces. There's a leadership piece to the process, there's a manager piece to the process, and then there's the execution of the process. So we're going to look at those three things. Let's look at the leader first. To consistently get good results, the leader needs to take that picture of what we want to have and turn it into a vision and communicate it effectively to his key people. And really, the key people need to take it on and get it out to the full team or organization. That is a leadership responsibility, to define and communicate the vision of what we want to accomplish, what a good result looks like. Sometimes we're beating up on people and blaming them and wishing they worked harder and they had a different way of doing things. They've never been shown actually what they're trying to accomplish, and that's never been validated. Second, the leader then needs to support his management, the on the grounds folks that are going to get it done, and then his role becomes one of inspiration, encouragement, and the manager kind of takes the baton and starts to organize the troops and gets things done. So that's the leadership piece. If you consistently want to get good results, if you're a leader of a team, think about, have you defined and communicated a vision of what you want? And how are you supporting and inspiring the rest of the team? And how could you do that better? Second, the management role, which I think in this execution piece, is huge. The manager is really the one who creates the action plan, the who does what by when. He or she meets with individuals on the team and defines roles, and they figure out what position is each person going to play. And then there's a recruitment process. And of course, the leader and the manager can work together. It may be the same person, but you need to go recruit the team. Now, that may be actually hiring people to get something done, or it may be looking at the people in your organization that would be best suited. And how do you decide that? Who should be on this team to consistently get this good result? Well, four things. They need to have the heart, spirit, mind, and body if they're going to be on the team. And the heart and spirit are probably more important, in a sense, more of a priority than the mind and body. Let's start with the body. You've got these roles defined to get this good result. Do the people in the roles have the physical capability of doing it? That's the physical presence. Are they able to be at work? Are they able to be at the meetings? Are they able to physically show up? I've always said it this way: Michael Jordan is a huge basketball player, but if he doesn't show up for the game, he's no good. So are they going to be able to physically participate? Second, do they have the mind? Do they have the intellect? Do they have the emotional intelligence to think and to communicate for the level of job that they have? Spirit. Do they have the passion? Do they have the heart? Do they have the energy? Do they have the breath? That's the word for spirit. And then heart. Do they have the desire? Do they have the want to? Do they have the commitment? So think about that. You need to get team members that have heart, spirit, mind, and body. A fully functioning team member will have all four of those as it relates to their particular role. So you've got a plan as a manager. You've got a team. What do we need to do? We need to create agreements and set an accountability pulse. What do I mean by that? We have to have agreements related to the action plan. We have the who does what by when. Now I need to get the agreement of each team member for their part. When that team member is the who, what are they going to do and when is the deadline? That's what it takes. And then we need an accountability pulse. That's a follow-up. We need a time that we're going to meet or we're going to chat or some function that we're going to be accountable to the agreements that we've made. I'm giving you an overview of this, but I am giving you the specific pieces that if you consistently want to get good results, these are the pieces you need. You need to provide the training and the resources so that people can do their job. If they don't know how, or they don't have the tools, or they don't have what it needs, it's the manager's responsibility to make sure that the team has what they need. The manager doesn't really do the work so much in that role, but they're supporting everybody as they do the work. And that's the team. The team needs to just execute the action plan. If we have all that in place, each person does what they're supposed to do by the time they're supposed to do it. They're accountable to it. They have the heart, spirit, mind, and body to do it, and they work together. Now, this is simple stuff on paper. It's very messy in the real world, but it works. And I find that as a coach, when I go through these basic principles with people, the light bulbs start to come on. They start to see why they're not consistently getting the good results. They're not following this structure or something like it. Final thing the team needs to do is they need to give and receive and respond to feedback. So we're working. We've got the plan. Something isn't working well. Someone isn't working well. Something isn't working out. There needs to be a process of feedback. The team member needs to be able to go to the manager and give them feedback about what's happening. The manager needs to observe what's happening and give the team feedback. Certainly the leader needs to oversee this and be involved too. But do we have the communication and the trust in the team to give and respond to feedback and not take it personally and not get like we're being critical and not being whiny and not attacking people, but attacking problems and solving problems as we execute the plan? Because the plans never go as planned, and there needs to be this dynamic. So that's on one page. I hope that's helpful. That is the process. So again, a little bit shorter one today. I want to kind of pull this together and give you a moment to write down the thoughts. What have you learned? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? Maybe you'd like to have a conversation with me. I'd love to do that. Just email me and we'll set up a time to talk. Maybe you need to have a conversation with your leader. Maybe you are the leader and you need to have a conversation with your managers or with your team. I don't know what it takes, but look at the components, look at what you learned today, figure out what you need to do. Free upon request. I'll give you the slides. I'll email them to you in a PDF. I've got a few articles that are related to this that I've gathered. I'll send those to you if you ask for them on email. And again, if you want to discuss your situation, even if you've talked to me before, email me and we'll set up a time to chat. My email address is right there, davebeam@mentordavebeam.com. We typically go an hour. I intentionally shortened this one because I wanted it to be really clear and straight to the point. So if you appreciate what you had today, if it's been helpful and you got some good notes, that's great. And if you want the key points from the PowerPoint and a couple of extra articles, I'd be glad to send those to you. So we'll see you next month. We'll probably be back on something closer to an hour format, but today I wanted to be direct and to the point and just have one that was a little bit shorter. So thank you for coming, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.